bartenders 20%. No droids, no bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. We are doing this for the love of Star Wars, and that is the bottom line. Anyway, I'm not going to be on long. Probably about half hour, whatever, today because I need to get my last workout in. I wanted to come in and rest a little bit because it was a hard walk today, and the dog was. Put it this way, we were being stalked by a lady with two frou-frou dogs, and I wasn't having it, but he thought it was great. Try controlling a dog that weighs almost as much as you, and you can't. Anyway, so today I jumped in on the panel for Midnight's Edge for a little bit. We were talking about James Bond and the fact that the director of No Time to Die basically said that in the first Bond films, Bond was a rapist. This highlights a problem that we have had with entertainment in general. Hey, Jedi Padawan Trailer, how are you? Oh, cool. Awesome. I like that. This highlights a problem we've had in entertainment. Hey, Jeremy. Thank you, by the way. And I think in society in general for a long time. And it started, I remember, back in the late 1980s when I was first getting into school. Hey, Jonathan. Not much. I'm just kind of reiterating and doing a deeper dive into what I was talking about with the guys on Midnight's Edge. That I saw later in the late 1980s and 90s amongst people I was going to college with, the professors, and what people were studying. Already women's studies were being highlighted. If you were in philosophy at University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, you could have ended up with a lesbian teacher who very much was into women's gender studies, etc., and rallied the chicks around, we hate man's flags. And again, this is a personal anecdote because I saw it happening then. I ran into a friend of mine, her name was Mary, that I'd gone to high school with for a little while. She disappeared from high school, and suddenly she's in college. Now she'd gotten her GED. Long story, I really don't want to get into, but she was not one of those people that your parents would want you to hang out with. But there she was in school. So we started hanging out together a little bit. And she introduced me to her friends, Jackie and Liza. Jackie and Liza were both single moms. They both lived on the dole, and so did Mary. They both lived in government housing. All three. Two of them lived in government housing. Mary lived with her parents. Okay. They were Jackie was into sociology and child welfare and women's studies and dragging Liza, who's basically trying not to be the miscreant that she was, with her. Yeah, it was with the Z, Troy. Anyway, they hated men, and sadly, Jackie was the mother of a boy. They bought every pile of bullshit, hook, line, and sinker that they were told, and would get really mad at me when I would say, this is what you just said is wrong, fuck you. And I bring up the fact that I've never been treated like that by any man. I bring up the fact that every guy in my family treated me decently, la, 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 and then they would proceed to shit all over my brothers and my dad without having any idea about my brothers or my dad. And the fact of the matter is, they basically would validate their arguments by placing their own worthless parents onto other people's parents. Okay, that's how they did it. But I saw this then. The reviling of men, the objectification of men, the fact that these women didn't have any idea what romance is at all. and the fact that if there was any romance around, they would kill it. And you could say, well, they had bad relationships and they're being self-protective. It's like, no, that doesn't have anything to do with it. This has everything to do with it. They made bad mistakes. They were in the lives that they were living because they made shitty mistakes. Either they had relationships with the wrong guy, had unprotected sex, whatever. And instead of saying, I fucked up, like a grown-up would, they blamed the guy. Okay. So they're the ones, and Jackie's kid was already like 8 years old. So he's now in his 30s. So that boy was raised by a single mom. He never saw his father. Jackie was dating a fireman who was much younger than her, who bought everything she said about men, hook, line, and fucking sinker. And I told him off. The last time I saw her, I told her off. I told him off. I told Liza she was a drunk and I didn't want her around. And I went off on Mary. I basically said, every time you came into my life, you brought me nothing but bullshit. Okay? You yourself is enough bullshit for me. Now you've got these other bullshit people in my life. Fuck it all. I walked away. First off, it goes into the thing that women really can't be friends with other women. Okay? Really. If you have a really good female friend, and I do have some, they are the ones that no matter what, stuck by you, never stabbed you in the back. And it's very rare that you find that. Okay? Most women I know go from one flock to another to another. Okay? And what's really weird is that there are women who buzz around each other because they enable each other's bullshit. Okay, and that's truth. So I saw this coming. Okay. And my own sisters are misandrous pains in the ass. It's always the guy's fault. Why did you go out with that guy? Why did you date that guy? Why did you, hey, guess what? You're the one that said yes to this shit. All you had to do is say, get the fuck out of my life. Okay. You don't have to have instincts of a freaking owl to see bad coming at you, do you? And women are supposed to be instinctive. These women don't have any of that. So when they make a mistake with the wrong guy, and trust me, they get told that, they make the mistake, and then they blame everybody else but themselves for making the mistake. There you go. These women raise this generation of angry, misandrist, feminazi, superiority bullshit people, including these boys that do the same thing. But they've raised them to be predators because deep down, if a psychologist or psychiatrist start peeling back the onion on some of these men, they all hate their mothers. Okay? Not that difficult. Mommy didn't let me see dad. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because I know, after doing some investigation, that Jackie's ex-husband was a decent guy. Okay? He wanted to have a relationship with his son. She wouldn't let him have it. She was being a deadbeat bitch. Okay? I don't like that. I don't like that. Boys need their fathers more than they need their mothers. And little girls do too. Okay? There. By the age of 7, if a boy doesn't have a masculine presence in his life that's positive, if a girl doesn't, they're lost. Okay? Sorry, feminazis, but that's the truth. So let's talk about the loss of romance. So the other week, I think it was either Tom Conkle or Script Doctor, they were both talking about Shang-Chi and the relationship in Shang-Chi. Now, I haven't seen the movie, but it was described as they're together and they're kind of boyfriend and girlfriend. The relationship is kind of, there's no romance. And one of them lamented that fact. You have an era of writers like John Kasdan, who grew up on the set of Raiders of the Lost Ark, who saw a romance being written by his own father, who can't fathom how to do that right. He's the one that basically turned Lando Calrissian into a pansexual. Okay. He's the one that took away the decency, the inherent decency of Han Solo. Okay? All right? And the reason is, doesn't understand it. Look, first off, if you live in a world where the casting couch is a thing, and it's never gone away, where soy boys with a lot of money, the only way they can get laid is to promise a girl a role. Hey, guess what? That's your example. And when you see one of them go out and say, I don't like this, this is wrong, this is predatory, blah, 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 and doing the woke shit, they're talking about themselves, okay? When you see women like Asia Argento, fucking cunt that she is, she is going on about Me Too and Harvey Weinstein, and then you see how she victimized a 16-year-old boy, and for the guys out there, she did. And if I was that kid's mom, her scalp would be on my belt, okay? All right? Because that is just as bad as it would have been if it would have been a guy doing that. Okay? Doesn't matter. She's older. She's the adult. Fucking stay away from the kids. Okay? I don't care if they're older than the usual pedophile thing, and boys are mature enough to do things like that, but he's still 16 years old. Okay? He should be going out with the fucking prom queen. All right? Not some 40-year-old has-been actress who's desperate to make a mark in the world, whose father, if you read about her father, if you read about how she grew up, she's lucky she's here. I kid you not, okay? I am not kidding. It is remarkable to me, all right, that this woman has been able to get away with a lot of this shit. But she became a spokesperson of Me Too. All right, so here's the deal. Harvey Weinstein, look at the guy. He was able to rape all kinds of girls. Now, when you start peeling back the onion and you find out that plenty of women said no to him and they still got roles, what does that tell you? Okay, they wanted roles in his movies. They fucked him, and they either got the role or they didn't. And a lot of the women that were upset didn't get parts in his movies. Okay, just because he says, sure, if you fuck me, I'll give you a movie. I'll give you a movie. It doesn't mean he's gonna. Okay, all right. You know, I don't blame Rose McGowan for feeling victimized, and I think she probably was. And it's, again, she's a victim of her own choice in the men she hung out with and everything. But I blame the Asia Argentos and a lot of the other ones because they perpetuated this. They allowed it to happen because they did it. Okay. Oh, I mean, Asia Argento, her father is this big Italian director. Why would she even say yes to that creep? Think about it. Okay. So what I'm saying about this is that when you look at the laws of romance, you have a culture in Hollywood that validates the feminist agenda that's being perpetuated in college classrooms, which is all men are scum, which was actually interesting, a line a feminazi giorno on NPR used to start out with every morning. And my sisters would go on and on about what a great person she was. And I kept going, my dad's not scum. My brothers aren't scum. My boyfriend's not scum. What are you talking about? Now, my brother-in-laws were scum because my sisters didn't know how to get the right guy. You know, here's the deal. If you put a decent guy and a cool cat guy, the woman will choose the cool cat. Now, sometimes the cool cat is also a decent guy. all right? But if they're spouting feminist bullshit, supporting abortion and all the rest of the stuff, guaranteed, they're not decent, okay, at all. Cool guys who are decent don't talk like that, okay? But again, let's go back to my point. These women don't know anything about romance, okay? You'll never see movies like You've Got Mail being made, or When Harry Met Sally, or Raiders of the Lost Ark, or Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, or Witness, Hey H Boomer, or think of the movies that The Princess Bride, Romancing the Stone, Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, Waterloo Bridge, The African Queen, To Have and Have Not. It's like, ha, very funny, Troy. I'm like, I can't imagine these people sitting happily through Raiders of the Lost Ark and seeing Marion throw a punch at Indy. And then, because, all right, here's the deal. There's a guy out there who perpetuates this shit, who wrote a blog about Indiana Jones and Marion, and basically saying because Marion was under the age of 20, Indy's like a pedophile or something. And a friend of mine's friend runs around posting this shit all over Facebook. First off, and I told him, first off, once a girl turned red back then, back in the early 20s, she was old enough, okay? I think maybe she did, Maze. So Indy being 25 years old and Marion being like 15 or 16 years old would have been perfectly normal back then. We have a problem with people not understanding history and social dynamics back then. Women were usually married by 17 or 18 years old. In fact, a woman is most fertile between the ages when she has her first period till about the age of 30, okay? That's when you want to have your babies, okay? That's when, okay? And you've got people now who are using social mores that were written into a script because they were normal back then to attack the filmmakers, which is what they're doing. And I get so pissed off. And this guy who perpetuates this, I called him out, he blocked me on Facebook. I'm like, you know what, fuck you. This is the same guy who went on and on about former priest Jonathan Morse being gay. The guy's Father Morse left the church. He has now got a job. He is married and they're having a baby. And he's married to a woman. So that looks gay to me. What the? Okay. There's no idea. Oh, he's fine. He's right here. There's no idea on how romance works. There's no idea how relationships back then worked. Women tended to go for older men. Okay. Now, when my mom and dad were dating, they were the same age. But back in the early 20s, back in the teens and earlier than that, women usually went out and dated and were courted by older men. You look at the romances that were written all throughout history, and it's always an older knight, the lady fair is a young woman, always, okay? So really, the problems are our perception of things that we don't understand because we didn't live in those times. I prefer to judge them on their own merits and not on my whatever, okay? Christ, if I was 16 years old and I was marrying, I would have jumped Indiana Jones's bones in a heartbeat. That's just what happens, okay? He was hot. What am I gonna do about it? But the romance. These people don't understand romance. There is no romance in their movies. There is no perception of it. If you, like, here's the deal. If you were to take let's say a guy playing all right, Mitch Rapp. All right, I'm taking a fictional favorite of mine. And you put him in a situation where he's got to work with this woman who does something for the President of the United States. She's really beautiful. She's dynamic. She's an independent person. But there's a thing going back. They're doing this flirtation, courtly dance, which is what it is. These people would have a shit fit. This can't be. She should. I mean, they don't have any idea of male and female relationships. Okay, they don't know how to have them. We're talking about a generation that I have seen surveys where they don't like sex. Okay. You know, but because they don't understand it. You know, the idea that a woman is powerless is bullshit. Okay. That's bullshit. My dad always said, you girls are the ones that choose. Okay. You know, when I was feeling lonely and vulnerable and feeling like I didn't have any guys interested in me, I had guys interested in me. They weren't the right guys. See? He loves her, but she loves him, and he loves somebody else. See? You know, that's a problem. That's the way things can happen. But romance is a dance. It's between man and women, a man and a woman. It is biological. It is inherent in our genes. Are they trying to social engineer it out? Well, yeah. Do I think they'll be successful? No, I don't. Because I walk into church every Saturday and we've got a lot of crying kids. Okay. We got a lot of young couples. All right. So there are people out there that don't buy into it. All right. And the problem is this sexless thing going on is a way to, I think, attack human relationships, engineer things that aren't real. Okay. They want to foster relationships that are not going to produce children. Okay. And I don't know why. To me, it's an elitist thing. Again, these people don't understand what romance is all about. That this was part of the reason why a lot of these movies are lacking something is because there is no male-female relationship going on. But when you've got people like John Kasdan writing these things, they don't know how to have a relationship. I mean, anybody that can actually write Lando Calrissian as being sad because a piece of artificial intelligence croaked on him, and then come up with Pando Lando, doesn't know anything about romance, doesn't know anything about relationships. Okay, these people live in the age of the fuck buddy. All right, that's not romance. In fact, I posit this: sexuality has nothing to do with romance. Sex is not romantic in of itself. Anything that you can pay for really isn't romantic. Okay, it is the relationship, building trust, the dance. That is romantic. It is Lauren Bacall looking at Humphrey Bogart and saying, put your lips together and blow. You know? And he does that as she walks out. Okay? That's romantic. She's flirting with him. These people don't know anything about that. Okay? Now, I'm going to bring up something real. We all know that Carrie Fisher dropped the bomb before she died, that she had an affair with Harrison Ford. She was 19 to 20 years old. He was 32, 33. I think that's fine. A lot of people out there, including people who love her and him, think that he took advantage of it. They didn't read the book. Because when you read what she wrote about him and what happened, I'll tell you what happened. It was George's surprise birthday party, and they all were there. She was this big. Let me think about that, Jonathan. She was this big. She weighed like 100 pounds, soaking wet. And tiny women and wine don't go together. And she had a couple glasses of wine, and the crew were trying to get her to go back to a room with them. The crew. Okay? You wonder how shit starts on movie sets. All of a sudden, there's this big booming baritone. Now imagine, where are you taking her? All right, imagine Harrison Ford yelling that out. Suddenly, he's in the midst, he grabs her, and they leave. He basically rescued her from being, I don't know, raped? Assaulted? We don't know. So anyway, they get into his car. They decide they're going to go out to eat with, go out to meet Mark Hamill and a couple of his friends and have dinner. And the moment they get in the car, they start making out. Okay, that sounded mutual to me. Dinner's over. They get back in the car. They drive to her apartment. He gets out of the car. Now, she didn't invite him up at that point. She could have said goodnight. But she says, "You want to come up." When you read the book, you realize that they were both in this together, okay? It wasn't him, pulling out the Ricardo Montalban, Pepe Le Pew bullshit, all right? I can't imagine him doing that anyway. I'm like, are you kidding me? She knew exactly what she was doing. By the way, this girl wasn't a virgin when this happened, all right? She's very loquacious about her life. And I'm like, to people when they start attacking Harrison Ford, he could have said no, but she was old enough and she was a consenting adult. She knew what she wanted. She knew how she wanted it, and that was the final word. Again, she chose the next course of action. If she'd have said no any time before things happened, he would have walked away. Okay? But she didn't. All right? He did not victimize her. He did not hurt her in any way, shape, or form. And he did not take advantage of her being as young as she was, because she knew exactly what she was doing. And when you read The Princess Diarist, you're damn well right she knew what she was doing. She said so. And I think before she died, and she was apologetic about putting that out there, because she knew how her fucking weird fans would feel about this. Okay? And she was right. And I know for a fact, if she was alive right now, she would shut that down real fast. Okay? What you do with this, because what happened between them, in my opinion, he rescued her. He got her out of a really bad situation. Okay? A situation that she had no control over. All right? No, she didn't. I mean, here's the deal, and another thing. If he'd have done anything to cause her emotional pain, they would not have been friends. Okay? All right? And I'll say this. I lay odds that when it was over, it was her decision, and he was the one that was hurt, not her. Okay? All right? That's my opinion. All right? Okay? That's my opinion. She said it ended. But then from what I gather, it picked right back up during Empire. Because Peter Mayhew's like, with them. I mean, there's a great story, I think, in The Princess Diarist of them going to a party at one of the Monty Python guys' house. The Rolling Stones were there, and they were drinking this shit called Tunisian table cleaner. You know, the scene where they arrive in Besbin? That scene was filmed the morning after that, and they were like this. I mean, they hadn't slept. So, you know, I look at this saying, first off, again, their relationship, if Carrie had never said anything, we never would have known it happened. And their relationship happened. It was mutually and consenting. There was a romantic element to it because he swept her right out of there, got her out. And again, out of a very bad situation with a bunch of guys that did not have good things on their minds. Okay? And they should have known better. In fact, this day and age, if that would have happened, every one of that crew would have been fired. Okay? And probably thrown in jail. You know, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, Jesus. Thank God Harrison was there. You know, anyway, so what I'm saying is that you've got people there who look at alpha males and think they're predators. An alpha male is not a predator. Okay, go back to James Bond. James Bond never had to rape a woman. He never had to do that. Never. I mean, Sean Connery, first off, look at him. I mean, it's like, I mean, and a guy like Bond is very aware of his presence and how it affects women. Okay. Harrison Ford never really cared about that, but I think he found out about it. Okay, because I've got a theory on that. I think he put two and two together. Okay. But still, a guy that can walk into a room and get every woman to go, you know, isn't going to rape a woman. He doesn't have to. You know, there's no reason for a guy to go out on a limb like that, to do that. If you look at the average rapist, they are pussies. Okay? They're pussies. All right? Football players who go and do that are pussies. They're not alphas. Basketball players, you name it, are pussies. They're not alphas. All right? If a guy doesn't have to do something like that, or doesn't feel he must do something like that, he's not a pussy. He's not a soy boy. He's an alpha, okay? Sean Connery rolls into a bar, rolls into a party, and every woman's like, and he goes home with whichever one he wants, if she wants him back, okay? And that's the thing. It's always no skin off my nose if she doesn't want me, because I am who I am, and that's just the way it is, okay? That's an alpha, okay? He doesn't have to force a woman to do anything, okay? And romance is predicated on a woman being attracted to the guy and trying to figure out, what do I do about this? Okay? What do I do about this? I mean, Tom Conko brought up the great scene in The Empire Strikes Back where they first got into the asteroid tunnel, aka the worm, and it was unstable, like it's thrown back against Han, and she says, he says, "Don't get so excited, princess." And she says, "Being held by you, captain, isn't quite enough to make me excited." And then he pushes her off his lap and says, I can't remember the first part of it, and he says, I haven't got any time for that. And he gives her that smile, that Harrison Ford smile. And he just saunters away. And she's like, and that was it. He knows she wants him. And she's in denial. Okay, that's part of romance. I mean, watch African Queen. Okay, any one of those old school movies, anything with Tracy and Hepburn, you will see two people who are mutually attracted to each other, trying not to fall in love. Okay, that's just that kind of romance. And it's fine, it's healthy, it's good. It is what it is. And when I look at these sad people saying James Bond, Sean Connery's James Bond raped women, it's like, well, if you think being attracted to a man and then letting him buy you a drink and then deciding, wow, I want to go home with him is rape, fuck off and die. Okay, from me to you, fuck off and die. That's not rape. Okay. Yes, and it's all about chemistry and everything else. And it's natural. It's biological. The shit they're trying to shove down people's throats is neither natural nor biological, nor it doesn't make any sense anywhere. But anyway, look, I gotta go because I want to get a half hour on my elliptical. So, guys, I will see you around the galaxy. Behave, be well, and I wanted to throw my 2 cents in, and I'll probably be in Doomcock's chat tonight. And maybe there'll be a stream with Jay Cotto tonight, but I don't know. Anyway,